You've probably noticed that butter costs about the same as a one-bedroom flat in Notting Hill, so is it the time to start buying plant-based instead of animal-based? Today we're going to find out by testing on 5 criteria. That's price, sustainability, health and nutrition, convenience, and of course, taste. We've got 2 cow-based spreads here. We've got traditional organic butter, and then we've got a spreadable butter, and on the plant-based side we've got vegan block, which I guess is a butter replacement, and then we've got Flora spreadable, which is a spreadable plant-based butter replacement. Butter is a unique ingredient. It's not something we have as a meal, or we're not going to have butter for dinner unless you're like some kind of crazy keto ultra marathon runner. However, we do use it a lot, and we know it adds a lot of flavour, depth and richness to many foods that we eat on a regular basis. If you've ever been to a fine dining restaurant, then unbeknownst to you, you've probably eaten your entire body weight in butter. When we put it in the sauce, it makes it glossy and rich. When we put it in a cake, it gives it structure. And when we fry things in it, it makes them nice and brown. And where would we be without spreading some butter on a nice slice of hot toast? At the same time, we're also being told that cows are as bad for the environment as Vladimir Putin if he gets a bit too heavy-handed with that big red button. Butter or butter replacements are a cornerstone of anyone's kitchen, so let's find out which one's best. We'll rank each product in order of first place through to 4th place in each category. The product which comes first will get 4 points, second will get 3 points, third will get 2 points, and last place will get just 1 point. At the end, we'll add them all up and we'll see which one wins. Evidence-based. Well, kind of opinions too. First, let's look at prices and see which one's best value. Flora spreadable plant butter is £3.75 for 450 grams, which is 83 pence per 100 grams. President spreadable cow butter is £2.90 for 250 grams, which is £1.16 per 100 grams. The vegan block is £2.35 for 200 grams, which is £1.18 per 100 grams. Just 2p more than the President. And the Yo Valley organic cow butter is £3.60 for 250 grams, which is £1.44 per 100 grams, making it easily the most expensive of the lot. The Yo Valley organic cow butter is most expensive, while the Flora spreadable plant butter is easily the cheapest. These two are roughly in the middle. In fact, the Yo Valley is almost double the cost of the Flora, and there's a good reason for that. These two plant-based ones are basically hydrogenated fats, whereas these are cow milk that's been churned and changed into butter. These are obviously based on far cheaper ingredients than these are. Regardless of the ingredients in them, this round's about value for money, and that means the most expensive one comes last and gets just 1 point. Vegan block is second most expensive, so that gets 2 points. Second place is President, and that gets 3 points, and first place with 4 points is the Flora plant-based spread. Round 2, sustainability. Now, we don't have individual life cycle assessment analysis for each of these 4 products, so we need to generalize from the data that's already available. The vegan block and the Flora are both a bunch of hydrogenated vegetable oils, with some other ingredients to make them taste nicer. The Yo Valley is milk and nothing else in there, and the President is milk with cream added. Despite the fact that these two have far fewer ingredients than these ones, I mean, look at this. This has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ingredients in it. Despite that fact, these are going to have the lower environmental impact. Cows, and then by extension dairy, are linked to very high environmental impacts. They have high greenhouse gas emissions, high water use, and linked to some pretty dodgy land use practices too. And despite the fact this is organic, that's still not enough to make it lower impact than the plant-based products. If we look at the environmental impact of vegetable oils versus milk, which are basically the 2 base ingredients for these two, we'll see that vegetable oils have a far lower environmental impact than the milk does. And you've got to remember that to make 250 grams of butter, we need to start with probably 350 grams of milk. Butter is produced by churning milk, and then the buttermilk's extracted and you're left with the fat solids, which is butter. Tastes great, but anyway. The Flora has some fava bean in it, which is a really good sustainable crop that can also be grown in the UK really sustainably. So that's actually a bonus for that one. The vegan block has almonds in it, and almonds are kind of linked to very heavy water use, so that's a bit of a negative on that. Because the President has cream added to it, that will reduce the amount of actual milk that's required to make the same volume of butter. Therefore, it actually probably has a lower environmental impact than the Yo Valley. So the scores for sustainability are: in last place, Yo Valley, third place President, second place vegan block because of that almonds, first place is Flora. I've just noticed that the Flora has actually got its CO2 emissions on the label here. It says 0.5 grams of CO2 per 100 grams of product. Now that does give us something that we can compare to butter. So I'm going to look up the CO2 emissions of butter and I'm going to put it on screen now versus Flora here. That's the difference. A higher number's worse, yeah? Next up, convenience. How easy is it to buy these products, store them, and also how to reduce waste? They all have best before dates rather than use by dates, which is a good thing. Best before dates are about quality. They're advising us that the product might be better before that date, but you can still probably eat it afterwards. We really don't want to be seeing use by dates on anything like this. The best before dates span several months. President has got the shortest date, Yo Valley is the second shortest, Vegan Block third, and then the Flora is the longest. And to be honest, the Flora will probably survive a nuclear attack as well. But one of these products has pulled a trump card, and that's the Yo Valley, because they tell you on the pack here that it freezes brilliantly, which means that if you're not going to use all of it, you can cut it in half and put it in the freezer and save it for later. And that, my friends, is a big win. So in last place is President, because it's just got the shortest date and doesn't offer us any other redeeming qualities. The Vegan Block is in third, basically the same reasons, but it's got a slightly longer date. Flora goes in second place because, well, it's got a long date, but that's it. And first place is Yo Valley, because even though it's the most expensive, you could chop that up into pieces and store it in the freezer rather than your fridge, and then it will last for as long as you want it to last. Fourth up, health and nutrition. Let's look at the macros. Yo Valley is 745 calories, 82 grams of fat, 0.6 grams of carbohydrate, and 0.6 grams of protein. Next up, President is 640 calories, 70 grams of fat, 1.5 grams of carbohydrate, and 1 gram of protein. Vegan Block is 665 calories, 75 grams of fat, 0.5 grams of carbohydrate, and 0.5 grams of protein. Flora spreadable plant-based butter is 713 calories, 79 grams of fat, 0.5 grams of carbohydrate, and 0.5 grams of protein. At this point in the process, we're normally looking for the most nutritious, healthy food amongst them all. However, nobody eats butter because it's healthy. No one wants low-fat butter, and if you do, you're a psychopath. What we're looking for is the absolute highest levels of fat, because that's what it is. That means in health and nutrition, last place goes to President, third place goes to Vegan Spread, second place goes to Flora Plant-Based, and first place goes to butter. And I think that's the right choice. Because today we don't care about carbs, we don't care about protein, we're here for the fat, and that's it. And if you do want low-fat butter, then I suggest you speak to your therapist about that. Next up, taste. We're going to do 3 taste tests today. First up, we're going to test it how they test real butter in genuine taste tests, and that's simply eat a spoonful of the stuff. Secondly, we're going to do some fresh hot sourdough toast and spread some butter on there because, well, that's the next way. And then thirdly, I'm going to fry some pancakes in it to see how well it browns them off. Let's do this. So at the front, I need a pointer. At the front there, we've got Vegan Spread. At the back here, we've got Flora. This one here is President, and that one there is Yo Valley. Let's taste them. First up, Vegan Spread. You can get the nuttiness in that. That tastes good. Flora plant butter spreadable. That's got like a margarine flavour to it. Yeah, it tastes a bit more synthetic, that one. President. Oh, that's quite mild and delicate. And Yo Valley. Oh, doesn't really taste it much. Okay, we've got 4 slices of hot toast. Let's dive straight in. Oh, that spreads nicely. I know that's a weird thing to say, but that was one of the firmest ones to eat, but it actually spreads on the bread really, really nicely. Let's do some eating. I can taste the Vegan Block now. Now in comparison to the other ones, I can see that it's quite a subtle, but yeah, that slightly nutty, planty flavour. It is quite a nice flavour actually. The margarine flavour of this, I'm not a fan of. This has got a lovely creamy buttery flavour. That's very good. This is quite mild. I'm not sold on that, unfortunately. Now, I do normally like butter, and I'm just wondering, I think that this might actually just not be a very good example of butter. I think there are probably more tasty butters out there. The last test is see how well these perform when you're using them to cook with, and we're going to cook some pancakes and see how nicely they brown off. Oh yeah! Okay, last up, pancakes. First up, the 2 butters. The real butter's got a nicer tan on it there. The vegan butter's got a really dark tan on it. In fact, that's really light. Let's flip them over. Again, very similar overall. The big question is, what do they taste like? It tastes like a nice pancake. That almost tastes sweeter. That tastes good. That tastes fattier. Whether that's a good thing, it's entirely your choice. Okay, last up, Flora. That's really plain. How strange, the margarine flavour is almost entirely gone. That tastes really simple. That's odd. A little bit of syrup, see how it goes with it once you add a bit of sweetness in there, you know. Let's go reverse order this time. Nice sweet pancake. Again, a nice sweet pancake. That one's really interesting. The syrup plus the butter seem like they come together and create like a really well-rounded, rich sweetness that's far more pleasurable than those two. Last one, Yo Valley. I feel let down by the Yo Valley. I think I had high hopes for the real butter. And the same again. These two work together as a whole. They create something that's greater than the sum of their parts, whereas these two were just sweet pancakes. I'm literally eating the whole lot now just to make sure there's no waste. So the results of the taste test. In last place is Flora because I didn't like the margarine flavour and once it was cooked it didn't really add anything. In third place is Real Butter and I'm really gutted about this because I like butter a lot and I'm wondering if this wasn't a great example, but it's a really mild butter and it doesn't add much in terms of flavour and it's good to cook with, but it really wasn't winning in flavour. In second place is going to go to the vegan block. I was really impressed. It had a really nice sort of slightly nutty, I know that's a bit of a cliche, but it had a really nice sort of planty, nutty flavour. It cooked well. It was just a really nice butter to use. And in first place is the President. It's got the nicest flavour out of the lot of them, cooks really nicely. When you cook with it, it adds a creaminess. Overall, that's the number one out of this lot. So that gets 4 points. Now we can add up all of the totals and see which one is the outright winner this week. In last place with 11 points is President. It scored pretty badly on most of the metrics and the only thing it did well on was flavour and it just wasn't enough to carry it through. And I'm a bit gutted because I actually do like that. In equal second place are Vegan Butter and Yo Valley. They both scored 12 points. And I think that's really interesting. The reason they scored equally, Real Butter did well on some measures, but unfortunately on other measures it just came last and that really knocked it down the rankings. The Vegan Block on the other hand didn't win anything outright, but it didn't come last anything. It's just a really good middle of the road butter replacement. And that means, and I'm really gutted about this, that means the winner is Flora plant-based spread, which is weird because I personally wouldn't buy that. And I'm not convinced because I don't like the margarine flavour of it, but when we look at this sort of holistic view of health and sustainability and price and convenience and everything all together, it's actually a really good value convenient product to use for lots of different purposes. So as a general all-rounder, it's really good. However, these results show you've got to choose based on what's important to you. I'm using 5 criteria to give an all-round idea of how good a product is. The reality is if you're making a cake, then that's probably best, and then Vegan Block if you don't eat animal-based foods. If you really, really value flavour, then maybe you would get the President. If you just want something to put on your toast that's really convenient and good value, then the Flora, well, all day long it's the winner. This one's challenging me. I need to make peace with this. I need to make peace with these conclusions.